Today we need to get into some news that was released and people were saying that was very shocking and was getting some backlash. We also have Jungkook while being in the military. Some stuff has come out online where there are some pictures that have been inappropriate. And then we have justice for Jungkook trending and what that is about. So you don't to decide hater or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. Make sure you join us fangirling on Patreon and let's go. We need to talk about justice for Jungkook and what that is about and why people are saying this. Recently, there's been a rise in people attacking Jungkook in a very different way. They're trying to target his supporters to try and get people to support him less, which ultimately is going to result in maybe less sales or whatever it is. And people are trying to get people to unfollow him. And this tactic to harass the community to get them to unfollow Jungkook is not something that hasn't been done before. And it's not something that hasn't worked before. As you might be someone who is against the drama and doesn't want to deal with all this stuff going on and you just want to enjoy the music and peace, when you realize you can't enjoy the music in peace, you might just decide to leave the community altogether. And a lot of people don't even go any further than that in terms of if they were fans and they were just kind of in the beginning stages of being fans, they might not go any deeper than that because they might just be like, oh, this community is too much for me, I don't want to deal with this. And so you can't even be mad at those people and say, well, you're fake fans for leaving Jungkook, when in reality they were fans, but they just couldn't be that fan much longer due to all the drama. A lot of haters in the community will go as far as to try to hack the big fan pages in an attempt to stop those pages from posting about Jungkook, stop all lines of communication, and then also trying to cause a lot of drama in the community. Now, I have a few theories as to why this would happen and what's going on. The first one is, of course, there are a lot of people who genuinely just awful people and are bored and have nothing to do, so they want to try to bring someone down. And there are people who genuinely want Jungkook to not have a career anymore, which is ultimately crazy to me. How someone they don't know personally, someone they've never met, can cause this much hate in their heart, and how bored they must be to attempt to do something like this, right? Because if you're someone like me and you're really busy and you have a lot of stuff going on, you just wouldn't be able to sit there and spend a lot of time doing this. I'd probably sit there and think, what am I doing with my life? Hacking a fan page? Like, that is some new level of low that these people need to go to, and they need to get a life. The other theory that I have is just the fact that these fan pages often get so big. And I'm talking like fan pages that will get like hundreds of thousands of followers, will get millions of views, sometimes millions of impressions with their tweets and videos and whatever. So I just don't think that they're getting hacked because it's a hater, but they're more so getting hacked because that's just what happens to a lot of big pages. If you forget to put on two-step authentication, or you forget to change your password from different websites to make sure that the passwords to your main page are not the passwords that you use over and over again for other websites, and it's so easy to blame an anti or hater for hacking a fan page because that makes the most obvious sense, that obviously someone with a vendetta would attack a fan page. However, oftentimes it's just a person who is bored, who's just looking for a big account to hack, and maybe the fan page was like a practice run for them. Within the last year or so, I've seen so many people either post about it or so many people within my circle that have talked about how their accounts have been getting hacked. Not trying to discredit people who have been hacked, but just throwing out a simple possibility. Of course, the community is filled with a lot of anger, I think, and people are very angry all the time. So it's easy to blame other people, and it's easy to have things that make you angry. People were very shocked after HYBE recently announced something, but I don't know what to say about it because I understand what people are saying, but at the same time, I understand what HYBE is trying to do. So what happened and what's going on? If you're not aware, BTS announced that they would be dropping Monochrome. And I don't know if this is a single, if this is just a merch line, or really what it is, but it seems like it's going to be music. It seems like they're dropping various things to go along with it, and there's going to be a whole promotion and everything to go along with it. Now, they dropped all the merch that was going to be sold online. So these were things like a box, a lock, a shirt, candle, hydro flask, and all those things with the name Monochrome on it. As far as the quality of these products and if they're really good, I can't say. I don't have it in my hands, and I don't think it's specifically available to order yet. I'm not entirely sure, it may be. If you want to check it out, just go to the Weverse shop, check it out, or make an order. To me, merch that goes along with an album is always hit or miss because it's hard to determine whether or not it's just a promotional effort or if it's something that's actually really good. Because the point of this launch is to get people hyped about whatever Monochrome is. And so if that is the goal, then the goal wouldn't necessarily be to create these high quality products, right? So creating a candle, the goal isn't to make a super unique scent that no one has ever smelled before and something that is just amazing and is the best candle ever, because also people won't be able to buy more of it way later after they're done using it because the promotion will be over. But also that's not the goal, right? They're not going to put all this money into making the candle perfect because the only goal of the candle is to serve as a promotional effort. So I don't want to say this to say that the products are really bad or whatever it is, but I'm saying this this because when people say that this is a money grab, I find it very interesting because it's sort of the point, and I don't mean to say it in a bad way, but these serve as a promotional thing. It serves as a thing to be like, I got this piece of merch and once it's over, no one else will have it. And I also got this merch to celebrate BTS. And the whole point of it is just to use this as a hype tool. When people are saying things like, oh, it's not super creative or whatever it is, that's really not the point of this. The point of this is just to get the name out there and is to get people excited about whatever monochrome is. Now, people were also comparing something that was very interesting to me because BTS had a moment before they enlisted where they all had a chance at creating their own merch line. So that included things like a projector, that included pajamas, stuff like that. And of course, those things were very high quality and those things were very good. So people were now taking that as the standard and then comparing everything against that to be like, well, the things that are coming out now that are not as good as the old one. One thing to understand was that that's just what that was. It was a complete full drop. And the point of that drop was that merch was the product. Whereas this drop, the whole point is not the merch. The whole point is whatever monochrome is. Does that make sense? Like the end goal of monochrome merch isn't the merch. Whereas the merch that BTS was making, that was the end goal, was to create really high quality merch. Also, merch for artists, merch for albums, that sort of thing have always just been things that are like a shirt with a face on it or a t-shirt with the album art on it or a t-shirt with a name on it. It's never really been anything too crazy. And I think at a certain point, raising the bar to this standard of everything needs to be perfect, everything needs to be amazing, every drop needs to be perfect, isn't realistic and doesn't make sense. It's putting what BTS has done on such a high standard that they can't even compete against that. Imagine they do come back from the military and create an album right away and they drop a bunch of stuff and now they have some merch that they want to drop along with their new album. They're going to have to come up with a whole new merch idea and plan it and all that stuff in the midst of doing their promotion, doing press, doing all that stuff. It's not going to happen. They're not going to be able to do it. It's too much. Of course, this is where people kind of put the BTS members on such a pedestal that I don't think it's healthy for them specifically. There's been a lot of claims that people will take Jungkook edits and edit him in a certain way and then make him look a certain way. And this is so frowned upon by the community in an obvious way, and the community gets very, very upset. There was even a point recently where someone was talking about how they were getting doxxed online and people were sending like harassment stuff and harassment photos to their family and all that stuff. The claims of this goes that the person who was getting harassed, the reason that they were was because they had all these edited photos and Photoshop photos in which they were targeting Jungkook sexually. And so there were some edits there that were not exactly great. I don't know if that's real or not. Now, those photos have then since disappeared from the internet, but people who do remember it are still upset about it to the point where they're attacking this person personally and attacking their private life. Now, there's a couple things that I want to say because people like to take things on their own hands. And it's quite obvious that this person's address is now available within the fandom and people are attacking them throughout that, which is absolutely crazy to me. But of course, that means that if the label were to take action while Jungkook is in the military, they would be aware of who the person is. Now, I'm not saying for sure it is against the law to edit pictures or not. I have no idea. But what I'm trying to say is that if this person's information has been public and if the label has still chosen not to take legal action on them, sometimes lawyers of a company realize that it's morally unethical what someone is doing, but legally what they're doing isn't illegal, because what I'm saying is legally I don't know what law the editing photos fall under. Recently there have been some new laws, I believe, that were enacted over AI explicit images, but I don't know if there were any laws against photoshopping images of a celebrity. So my point here is that people should be very, very careful. If you're attempting to dox someone and attack someone over something that they've photoshopped or edited online, be aware that what they're doing isn't illegal. Then by taking action towards them personally and in their private life, that would be illegal. That would unfortunately then leave you with charges. And I'm not saying that that is the right thing or the ethical thing. I'm saying that legally this would be what would happen. So be very careful when you're pursuing someone online and if you're trying to dox them or attack them in real life, because that's definitely illegal. You'll end up in jail and they won't. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out Patreon for more videos. Link down below. Thanks, just leave a comment right here. Love you, bye.